Who has pink hair and burps like a pro? We find out on this very special That TV show. This is episode 115.
You're listening to the podcast for TV geeks everywhere. You're listening to That TV show with Jules Scott and Pat Crane.
I got it right that time, thankfully.
Yes,
all right, thanks for joining us from all around TV land. My name is Pat Crane. I am your host for this show, and as always, the lovely and talented Jules Scott. Hello, Jules.
Hello, Pat. Now that we've gotten our music squared away, we can talk about what's so special about this show.
Right. This week, we're not doing a full show for you because I'm actually on vacation this week. But we do have a very special guest, just to give you a little bit of the bio here. Now, last year, she was a Maxim Gamer Girl finalist. She also has...
robbed.
This may be a theme here, right?
Oh, wow. It's true, though.
Robbed. You're totally robbed. But she has her own... She has her own YouTube channel. She does the WoW Insider weekly wrap-up. I know a lot of guys listening to this show also play WoW. It's Danielle Mackey, a.k.a. Panzer or TradeChat, who came in third place in King of the Nerds. Welcome, though.
Hi, thanks.
Give you the big applause. Why not?
Yes, big applause.
Bowing, virtual bow.
So now, Danielle, I have my first question is...
Yes, I am the third best nerd in the country. Thank you for asking.
But my question is, when you were eliminated, did you feel a little cheated that you weren't blown up or anything like that?
Okay, I was expecting to get mauled by fell hungry orcs or like breathed on by a dragon or the earth was just going to open up and I was going to drop inside of it. No epic death for me.
Well,
no epic death for me.
You didn't even film the long walk down the sidewalk now, did you?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you this, but I think we're all bros here. Insider, super secret. They actually film those the very first day you get there. That isn't filmed afterwards. Those are all not when you're walking away with your suitcase in the house, but that walk down the front steps. That was actually filmed the very first. So everybody had one of those filmed, even though not everybody's was used.
Wow, that's a real way to start the adventure, isn't it?
Well, you don't know.
Right.
I mean, it's great. They're very secretive on those shows. They don't want you to know anything that's going on because it'll ruin the surprise and the whatnot. So I mean, you don't know that's why you're doing that. I mean,
sure.
I mean, maybe I'm just derpy. Maybe everybody else knew. I certainly didn't know.
Well, I was going to say, that sounds like a really, really kind of a downer way to start your adventure is to go, all right, now we're going to do the loser walk. So if you could please come over here, that'd be great.
Seriously. It's like, was it like that the whole time you were completely in the dark of what was going to happen?
Oh, yeah, they are a lot of reality TV is waiting for the giant twist because it's never what you think it is.
Right. And
just waiting in general because they have stuff planned for you to do, and if the camera crews are in destination A and you are in location B, you can't really do anything because heaven forbid they don't want to miss anything good. Right.
Well, and let's talk about the production schedule a little bit. Now, when was this actually recorded?
Over the summer.
Over the summer, and how long were you in the house for?
Somewhere between 4 and 5 weeks. We didn't have calendars. So truthfully, I don't know. I do know that we had like access to the internet. It was very limited, and I remember that the Batman movie and the Aurora, Colorado thing all happened while we were there, and Gangnam Style happened while we were there.
Oh wow!
We got home, and it was like this K-pop invasion, and people were really angry about guns. It was like a whole different world when we left.
Wow.
That has got to be strange, though, to be out of touch for 5 weeks, no internet, and then to come back and go, what happened?
It's a very weird thing maybe some of those people, it wasn't as bothersome because some of the people in the house were obviously more, I would like to preface this by saying I was under an immense amount of stress. Like, this is not what you see on TV is a very distressed Danielle because I was there trying to win money for my dad, who at the time I believed to be dying of cancer. He had stage 4 thyroid cancer, had his thyroid removed, had his there's more glands in there that I can't think of the name, but lymph nodes. He had his lymph nodes removed. And he was cut open ear to ear, and then they're like, oh, we got everything, good to be fine. And then a couple weeks later, we should probably do some just, just in case radiation, but I'm sure it'll be fine. And, 6-8 weeks after 6 weeks of radiation, everything grew back on his esophagus.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, and they couldn't radiate again because I don't know if you've ever seen anybody who's had radiation on their throat, but he was burnt from under his nose to like almost his stomach, and it looked like the worst. It looked like someone poured like hot oil on him. It was awful.
Oh my gosh.
So they couldn't radiate on him again. They couldn't do surgery again. It wasn't the type of cancer that was treatable with chemotherapy. So they were just like, oh, we're just going to wait this one out. And if you have ever had anybody in your family that's had stage 4 cancer and the doctor says something along the lines of, let's just wait this one out, it's terrifying.
Right.
So I saw this show as an opportunity to win all this money for him, and maybe he could go to like Cancer Center of America or...
Right.
I don't know, just something. I just wanted to do something.
Yeah.
And so I took everything very seriously, and I don't think that that's how I would have acted had the circumstances not been, as in my mind, dire as they were. And I'm sure had I gotten top 2, everyone would have seen that side of me as well. But,
right.
Nobody wants to be rooting for the person who gets third. But, I was a maniac when I was there, and I did everything I could to stay. If you add it up, I cumulatively won 7 challenges. So I would like to think that if something were to accidentally happen to the king of the nerds,
right,
maybe I could step up and take the responsibilities and whatnot.
Right.
That's what we were saying. We were like, if by default, Danielle should be taking on that crown if something happened to Celeste.
or Genevieve, right?
Yeah, to be honest, though, it's not. I still joke, and of course, like I'm very competitive. Anybody who plays video games, anybody who's saying you're a sore loser, like you lose $100,000 and see how you feel. Like everybody else got to leave and go decompress off camera. Some people even got to go home. I literally got eliminated and sent back inside.
Right.
Yes.
So, like, of course, I was like pissed about it. Like, I don't know. It's just a weird situation. Like, I don't know. I don't take anything back. I said it. I did it. But my dad actually, as of last month, is in remission.
That's
so
awesome.
Apparently karma is on my side. So good for Celeste. Good for Genevieve.
And
that's fantastic, Danielle. I'm so glad to
and
hear
good for you guys. That's awesome. That's
really all that mattered to me the whole time anyways. In the moment I got eliminated, I felt like, oh man, if my dad dies, like it's my fault.
Right.
And that's like, and I know that's not logical because Steve Jobs had all the money in the world and he still succumbed to the beast that is cancer. So It's not even like a really logical thought process, but when you have someone that close to you who's in those types of circumstances, I'm not sure that a lot of what goes through your head is logical.
Right.
A lot of people don't know the situation that you were facing with your dad. And so it goes through a filter of people seeing your behavior on the show and making assumptions based on who you are.
Oh, my God. And I try not to let that stuff bother me. I do, but I think because of the circumstances, because in my mind, that was the most stressful thing I've ever done for it's like the most selfless thing I ever did. Like, it's so stressful being there and being away. I wasn't allowed to call my fiance once.
Right.
In a full month. Like, that's crazy to live with someone and then not even be able to talk to them one time for an entire month. Especially when you're in such a stressful, emotional situation and then to have no support system. Because everybody in the house, don't get me wrong, we're all buddies now. Like, there's no bad blood anywhere. But I would have been sick of me. Like, I was a wreck. I literally was in between, like, crying and then, like, pulling myself together and, like, going all game face. And then pretty much as soon as whatever was over, just breaking down and crying again. TBS literally had enough footage where they could have only showed me crying on TV. That could have just been my character. And so I guess I would rather be the hilarious bitch than the like puppy who just got kicked a few times, because that's probably more accurate of what I was like there.
Sure.
I tried my hardest to not be like that, but I wasn't really sleeping very well. Like, I can't sleep in a room with 5 other people. I didn't even, like, have a roommate in college. That was so weird for me. Like, I was constantly napping. Like, I was like a cat. Like, anytime there was a patch of sun in 5 minutes, I was curled up in a ball and asleep. It was like 2 PM. It wasn't even right.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. What was that like, living with all those people? And
I feel like I'm probably a very fun friend to have over. on the weekend, but once Monday comes, I need to go. Like, I'm used to sitting by myself on a computer playing World of Warcraft and League of Legends and having like minimal I work from home. I barely leave my house. Like, I barely get dressed. I am definitely not. I mean, I'm social and I'm friendly and I really do like interacting with people, but I am an introverted person. I like my privacy. I don't like to be around people constantly. It's just, especially people I don't really know, and you're competing against them. So there's this like, are they out to get me? Right. I don't know what to think about these people. Like, I don't know. Maybe I just was way too horde about the whole situation and should have been more alliance. That's probably why I didn't win, because hordes have war chiefs,
right,
and alliance have kings. So I think it would have just been like morally wrong. Like on a deep level.
That's fantastic.
Oh, man.
You did have some hilarious moments on the show, though. There were some lines on there that just put us in stitches. So, you had some fun, at least.
I'm pretty sure. I can't decide if my favorite part was when they blew up the cartoon birds next to my head. I like, that was pretty funny. And then there was the one footage when I was like tanked drunk, like so drunk, and I was trying to fit my body through a pool cue.
Yes.
Pool rack. Like, I don't even recall that, and I like had tears in my eyes watching it back. And then in the very last episode, I said something along the lines of, I don't do athletic things often, but when I do, it's on a Segway.
Yeah. You got some good one-liners, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Your pink thumbs comment was one of the funniest things in the entire show.
Oh, that's so true. You don't even know. I'm pretty sure. I wish that they would have just used my drunken footage rather than any other footage of the show, because, I mean, we didn't drink. We only drank a couple nights. I mean, they obviously used it on the show because it was very entertaining. But, I'll give you another off-camera, behind-the-scenes secret. Moo and I got in very big trouble. We got super drunk, and we crawled into the air conditioning unit. And when we exited the air conditioning unit, production had taken all of the alcohol out of the house because we were in alcohol timeout.
Oh, man.
I really thought they were going to show that because it was really funny.
Wow.
Like, we're on an adventure.
So now, you and Moo together was fantastic, by the way.
Love her. She is like the greatest human being I've ever met in my life. I can't believe they never said it on the show, but her name is Moojige, and that means rainbow in Korean.
Oh,
wow.
I know. Why didn't they mention that? Her name is the greatest name of all time.
Well, speaking of friendships, I mean, have any other friendships actually blossomed out of this
Believe
show?
it or not, I would actually say, if not Moo, Joshua is actually probably the closest.
Really?
I mean, they blew that up. That was and you know what else is funny is they used commentary from like right after when he and I had gotten in the fight for when he was like getting eliminated. Like they mixed in, so like a lot of what I was saying was like past tense. It wasn't. We're totally fine. Like even at the time, like he knew he was getting voted in because I mean it was. I was actually quite useful. I mean, they didn't show it for whatever reason, but I was quite useful. I mean, I made my costume in the cosplay challenge. I made Ivan's with the big goat legs.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, part of the reason those costumes were so cohesive is because there were like everybody kind of had their own part in it, but
sure.
like major pieces were all made by the same people, so that's why they looked so like, oh, they're all from the same world. They all go together because they all came from the same brain.
Gotcha.
And then like even in the copter challenge, like I understand that I broke my copter. I nerve raged my copter. I get that.
Right.
But like in the same sense, I still got a higher score than a non-broken copter.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like I don't even really understand. Maybe it was just because I was an emotional wreck, although I look back at that and I get kind of pissed about it because like I was an emotional wreck for a very valid reason and I was competing for a very valid reason. And if I had a teammate who was competing for such a serious reason, you would know that they're never going to give up.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I would want that person on my team, whether they were a threat in the long run or not. Like, you know that person is always going to try to win. Like that's why I was so angry about it, was because of my dad. It really wasn't about like, oh, you lied to me. It was more like you knew why I was here and you lied to me. Like, do you really think that I need that emotional crap on top of what I'm already going through?
Right.
So, but Joshua is actually a really cool dude. He does YouTube stuff too, so we like have that in common. He's actually really awesome. I think he was just playing the game, and to be quite honest, he is pretty adamant that he didn't lie to me, and I think that is because when he said it to me at the time, he meant it.
Yeah.
And then he had 5 minutes to think about what he said, and changed his mind. And changing your mind and lying are not really the same thing.
Right.
Granted, he didn't update me on the changed part, but I think the reason that he was so adamant, like, I didn't lie, was because when he said it to me, he meant it. And then, like, changed his mind.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. That's all right. And it's kind of weird that, I mean, that is kind of a shock to me that you guys are friends.
He's totally a cool guy. Like, even when I was surprised they didn't show it either, but when they came back, because everybody came back it was a whole night. It wasn't just like, come in, vote thing. Like, they came in, they were there all day, spent the night, were there the whole next day, and then we voted.
Right.
And, like, the only person I, like, hung out with during that day was Joshua.
Right. Now, how is your relationship with Genevieve during the show, during the taping, and then afterwards? I mean, that seemed to be like the rivalry of the show.
I don't want to talk bad about anybody. So I don't know if I want to, like, get onto that topic, because there was a lot that was said that was not seen on TV, and personally I am glad that it wasn't, not because of anything I said, but because I wouldn't want to be shown in that type of light, so I wouldn't want somebody else to be shown in that type of light. I don't want. She's probably the one person I'm not friends with. But there's no, like, bad blood. It's not like that. It's just not everybody in the world is destined to be BFFs.
Right.
We just come from very different universes, her and I.
I get it. So when it came down to the final two, now, were you guys aware that it was just going to be like a vote of everybody?
Like a popularity contest for a nerd show.
Yeah.
I wanted, like, fire. I wanted explosions.
Right.
I wanted a sword fight and the person in second died. I'm just saying. I wanted a duel.
Right.
I was expecting them. I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
As fans of the show, this blew us away. Like, we were like, why in the world would you do you started the show with a pseudo popularity contest by picking teams.
I know. It would have been such a good twist to be like, haha, we got you again. Genevieve wins.
Right.
It was, to me, it really didn't speak to, because you guys couldn't play your game knowing that you had to negotiate the votes of all of the other nerds.
Well, and it's funny because I've gotten a lot of, like, Danielle, I don't know why you care that you didn't come in the top two. No one would have voted for you. But the truth is, I mean, everybody's got to have their own little storyline. And because I got third, you can't. Had I gotten second, I truly believe my whole storyline would have been very different.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, everybody in the world has a very multi-dimensional personality. Nobody is just one way. And on reality shows, because they're just trying to create a story, it's just for entertainment. It's not a biography of what actually happened. It's not a documentary of everyday nerd life. I mean, it is a reality show that's meant to be entertaining and to tell whatever story they choose. And if you think about the fact that there are, just as an example of the editing, and I'm certainly not knocking, they can't show 24 hours a day of what was actually everything, because it wouldn't be interesting. Right. But we practiced on segues for 4 hours. They showed 44 seconds in the show. Like, that is how condensed everything is. So yes, I absolutely said all the things you see on TV. But were they all in context, and did you get enough details to actually make a judgment as to what was going on? No. Mm-hmm. Reality TV should be taken for entertainment, not for what is ironic about it to me is that, like, I think the nerdiest thing in the world is to have everybody against you. Mm-hmm. And to have people mad at you because you're trying hard and because you're standing up for what you believe in and because you're just giving it everything you can. And that, I mean, even though I may have been portrayed as a little bit mean, a little bit unstable, and a little bit rude on the show, I think anybody over the course of 4 days could have 10 minutes of rude behavior.
Yeah. Sure.
Absolutely. I mean, we're human beings, and I feel like if you watch that show, I feel like I was extremely nerdy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about my nerdiness, and America is, like, ganging up on me and, like, hates me, and it's so ironic because this is a show about nerds.
Right.
Like, you guys are watching this because you think you're nerds too. Like, no nerd should be against any other nerd. If you don't like them, you shut up because you know what it's like to be bullied.
It's a really good point.
Like, I can't even... it just shocks me because I know what you see on TV is me talking crap about Joshua and Genevieve, but truthfully, anything that was said on, those are the only two people. I mean, you can go and watch back the whole footage. I never said a negative word about anybody. I may have said they got lucky. Sure. But did I ever say that person is a terrible person to the core of their being? That person's a bitch. That person's no. Like, the only people I said anything about were Genevieve and Joshua, who I can promise you knew exactly how I felt. There was no backstabbing. There was no sneakiness. I wasn't talking behind their back.
Right. And I don't think that they ever took that away. I mean, they never edited that part out. I think that everybody knew in the house how you felt about both those guys at the times that you were saying that. So,
well, what was shocking to me was I had watching back the show, I was like in tears. I was like, how could they have said those things about me?
Right.
Like, I thought those people were my friends. Like, and I understand TV editing, and do I hold it against them personally? No. But, like, I never went and said, Ivan needs to go. It would just be easier if Moo got eliminated. Mm-hmm. I hope so-and-so goes home. I never hoped anyone went home. Truthfully, I would have been happy if Joshua stayed. Like, I was never, maybe I just don't have that in me. Maybe I'm just not that type of person, but, like, I'm empathetic. I don't want anybody's feelings to be hurt ever.
Yeah.
And, like, I watched back, especially, like, episode 7. Because episode 7, I won. I mean, I stayed up almost all night, 3, 4 in the morning, watching physics lectures. Because you can watch MIT physics lectures on YouTube for free. And I stayed up almost all night watching physics lectures, reading all these formulas of disproving 9/11 because of the way the floors fell, which was very similar. It sounds very silly, but, like, if you actually Google, like, 9/11 pancake theory, almost exact models of what we were doing come up.
Really? Wow.
I mean, it may seem silly when you say it out loud, but the formulas for the force momentum and, like, how much resistance the floors put on, you know, the floor falling above it is almost identical to the problem we were working with. I mean, I thought outside the box, but it was very relevant. It was just a different method of doing it. And I feel like even on TV, it appeared to be very fluky, and everybody was talking so badly about me, and I was just like, wow, I can't even get a break when I win.
Yeah. It was like they had an impression that you would not be a threat, especially in that specific challenge. And a lot of challenges, Danielle is not the threat. And you proved them wrong almost every time, which was really interesting to me to watch that and to see why they would think that a gamer vlogger would be someone who would not be a threat to any of this.
What got me was in the rap challenge. I mean, I'm obviously friends with a lot of people who do that kind of stuff online. I've written parodies myself. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is a field that I would say I'm strong in. And, you know, one of my teammates said their line out loud, and I said, that doesn't really rhyme. And they cut to a scene where they were like, Danielle is so emotional. I was just suggesting you make it catchier. Like, I know what I'm talking about here. Like, it's funny because when some people would stand up and speak their mind, they would cut to people saying, like, oh, so-and-so's really taking the lead. We're so happy that they're here offering their expertise. And then whenever I said something, it was, oh, Danielle's such a bully. She's always pushing her ideas on people.
Right.
I'm going to say it. I feel like if I had a wiener, nobody would have thought the same way. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I just, it's one of those things. You are not allowed to be rainbow colored and intelligent.
Yeah. So
you get one or the other.
Okay. So after this show, what's next for you? I mean, where do you take this? Are you taking this anywhere, or are you just going back to normal life?
Currently, I'm doing the Beast of Fable quest in World of Warcraft.
Ooh.
Nice.
And trying to get out of the horrific bronze tier of League of Legends. Mm-hmm. Just taking life one cup of coffee at a time.
Right on.
I don't know. I only did the show for my dad. My dad's better. I'll probably just keep living life the way I live it, and maybe something cool will happen, and if it does, awesome. If it doesn't, I have nothing to complain about right now.
Gotcha. Cool. And do you have a moment for a little rapid-fire questions from
Absolutely.
us?
Do I have a moment for rapid fire?
That's right. Well, we'll get some really dramatic music here. Hold on.
All right. Okay.
Here we go. There's some dramatic music. All right. Jules, why don't you kick it off?
So, Danielle, my 10-year-old stepdaughter is a huge fan of yours, and she just had her appendix out and watched the finale on the day she had her appendix out. So she wants to know, why did you choose pink for your hair color?
I don't know. I get a lot of, is your hair, did you dye your hair pink because it's your favorite color? No. Is your hair brown because it's your favorite color? No. Just was like, I'm going to do this, and then I did it, and then it kind of looks cool, so I did it.
It just stuck. What is your favorite color?
Purple. What it's epic.
Gotcha, purple. Oh, yeah, obviously, being a World of Warcraft person. All right, favorite Pokemon?
Pikachu.
Terran, Zerg, or Protoss?
Terran.
Favorite expansion in World of Warcraft?
Wrath of the Lich King prior to the release of LFG.
Ooh, nice. Would you rather play computer games with a single button mouse or go against Genevieve in a nerd off?
Depends on the nerd off.
All right. We talked about the hair, but let's say your hair can only be one color for the rest of your life. What shade of pink are you going to go for?
I would still continue to do really dark, bright pink, because then it'll just fade to pastel pink until I dye it again.
Right on.
Nice. So who's the better dresser, Bobby Carradine or Curtis Armstrong?
Curtis.
Now, did you get to hang out with those guys at all?
No, not really. Funny story though, on the very last day, we didn't really get to interact with them because that would kind of break the whole us being intimidated by them giving us challenges thing.
Sure.
But on the last day, I was always very intimidated by Robert Carradine because he's Mr. McGuire, and as any 13-year-old girl, my goal in life was to be best friends with Lizzie McGuire. So I, got to impress him so that he'll let me hang out with her.
Gotcha. And
the last day, he went to give us they gave us hugs, and I had my hair in just giant, massive poof balls.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's like OCD or if he's just a little like shy, but like he was like ready for a handshake, and I was like, oh no, this hug is happening, and he wasn't ready for it. So I like forcibly like mouth like invaded it with my hair. Like he was just
nice.
not, and I just like my whole pigtail just like stuffed. It was awful. I'm a horrible person.
All right, back to the rapid fire questions. If we gave you $100 to spend in 5 minutes, what do you buy?
League of Legends skins.
All right.
Oh. You have to watch the same movie for 24 hours straight. What movie do you choose?
The Brave Little Toaster.
Oh, wow.
All right, and the big question, of course, is who should the next war chief for the Horde be?
Me.
There we go. All right, I'll give you applause for that one, actually. That one's all right. Well, thank you so much for talking with us, Danielle. Thanks for taking some time out from your busy schedule, I'm sure.
Oh, you're totally welcome. On a serious note, it should probably be Rexar.
Rexar? Yeah, probably.
All right. Well, thank you once again. And how can people get a hold of you if they want to chat with you?
Oh, man. Well, chatting with me is a little difficult because everybody wants to chat with me, and I am antisocial and only one person, which makes the whole thing very complicated. But if you want to hang out with me on the YouTubes, youtube.com/TradeChat, or my vlog channel, which is kind of like a sugar rainbow overload, youtube.com/randompanzer. On Twitter, I am TradeChat. On YouTube, I am TradeChat on YouTube.
There we go.
Wait, on Facebook, I am TradeChat on YouTube. I'm bad at this. I'm bad. You guys just link stuff with me? I don't know.
You're TradeChat all over the place. And
I'm TradeChat all over the place, except in World of Warcraft. I cannot be held responsible for what goes on in there.
Right. Now, what's your main in World of Warcraft, by the way?
Currently, it is a Prot Paladin.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Probably a Blood Elf.
Well, come on. I've been playing for a very long time. When I made a paladin, that was the only option that you had, unless you wanted to be a dirty alliance.
Right.
And I'm not, honestly, let's be serious here. Why would I change her to a Tauren when, honestly, all transmog gear looks the best on Blood Elves?
It really does.
Yeah, they really do.
It really does.
Like, I have spent far too long grinding out stuff to get transmog gear to turn myself into a cow. And don't get me wrong, I love the cows. I love little Taurens. They're dorps. But... yeah. She's going to be a Blood Elf. Plus, she has that AoE silence. That's useful.
It is. It really is.
As a Prot Pally, absolutely.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My Prot Pally is also a Blood Elf. So.
Mm-hmm. Are you a Blood Elf dude or a Blood Elf chick?
Blood Elf, well, they're kind of the same, aren't they?
Oh, come on.
There's not a difference.
There is a huge difference.
in the jokes that they tell. That's about it.
Do you know what is the very interesting fact about Blood Elves, because I'm clearly taking up more time than you've allotted me, is that if you go to Silvermoon City, the guards in Silvermoon City, although they appear to be skinned as Blood Elves, they actually have the body of a Night Elf.
Weird.
They have a totally different body than a Blood Elf male. If you go stand next to them, not the same.
I have not noticed that.
No, I have not either.
Now I'll have to look.
So check it out. They're taller and they're like wider and they're a lot less feminine.
Oh man! All right.
Fun fact.
Well, on that note, we'll let you go. but thank you so much, Danielle, for stopping by. We really appreciate it. Really.
Oh, thank you. It's fun.
Thank you for being with us today and telling us all about your backstory on the.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.
You're great. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. We'll just hang up on her. Bye. Nothing. That was good. Right?
That was great. I learned a lot about the whole process, which was awesome. I really wonder if she had the opportunity to show her story on camera about her dad, or if they just didn't want that to be the tenor of the show.
Well, I'm thinking that they needed somebody they wanted somebody in the show that was a foil.
Right.
Like a major foil that would stick around for most of the show. And she actually stuck around for the entire series, so why not show her as not necessarily the bad person, but just as a conflict.
Yeah. The source of conflict that is a little bit more tenuous, but she was incredibly entertaining, which is why I like to watch her too. She was one of those people that you can't take your eyes off of when she's on screen.
Right.
Because you just want to see what she's going to do next. And that's what they want for this.
Right. Absolutely. And again, a big special thanks to Danielle Mackey for stopping by. Really great to have you on. And we look forward to hopefully bringing you some more interviews like that as we continue this show.
Yes, I think we'll be King of the Nerds fans going forward because they have season 2.
I know, season 2. When is that coming out? That's coming out.
I don't know. They're auditioning right now, so you can check on. I think it's on TBS.com, and you can check to see how you could be on the show if you're so interested.
So my guess is that it might be another. If they now that they're renewed, maybe they could do a fall thing now.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun?
Probably not, but it'll still probably. It's great for the winter, though. I will admit that I was highly entertained during a time when TV is kind of in a little bit of a lull, maybe.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to.
This was a great show. I'm sad that it's over because I want more.
I do too. I was kind of let down by the very end of that show.
Well, like I said, when we were talking to Danielle, I mean, the whole part about it being a popularity contest at the end threw me off so badly because the whole show was against that. And then it became about it. And I understand you're going for the dramatic and you're going for everybody being together again, but there should have been another epic battle at the end to determine who was truly proven to be King of the Nerds, not who got chosen to be. Yeah, it was a little weird. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm going to say about that. Definitely. But with that, we got to get out of here. I got a thing to do. I gotta go on a trip and do things and all that kind of fun stuff. So we're gonna get out of here. Okay. We hope that you guys had a good time out there and got some great insight too. And thank you for joining us from all around TV land. So that's going to do it. If you want to get a hold of us for any reason, you can do that really easily. You can always email thattvshow@gmail.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter @thattvshow or individually, right, Jules? Individually, you can find Pat Crane on Twitter @PatCrane with a K. And you can find me, Jules RPG, on Twitter. Right on. We also have our forums on the old website along with a bunch of other great shows from the Signals Media All-Star Network at signalsmedia.com. Our show is available on Stitcher, let me rewind. Okay, our show is available on Stitcher, the BlackBerry Podcast Directory, and iTunes, among other places. And thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you on our next show next week. Next week. No, not, well... Well, yes, next week. Well, it'll be a week and a half, okay. I guess, from the time of this recording. Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central, uploaded by Thursday at some point, for Jules Scott. And Jules, you did a great job today. So did you. You know why? Because we stayed in the background. We just let her talk. It was totally great. It was perfect. We didn't have to do anything. We just call her up and she just starts letting loose. That's awesome. All right. For Jules Scott, I'm Pat Crane. We'll see you on next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. This podcast is a part of the Signals Media All-Star Network. For more information on this and other fine shows, go to signalsmedia.com.
It's okay to stick our stuff in your ears. Really?